Wow, that was quick. So over here it's showing where it's streaming out to. So it's going to my page, going to All Things BMX page, the YouTube page, and then Twitch. And there's already people hitting, so that'll show you the number.
Nice.
Then it's also here in the chat. It'll show you down here how many people are in there. Man, I put Pringle's podcast up earlier because I forgot to do it.
I saw that.
There's like fucking 60 downloads, and it's only been up for a few hours already. Like, dang, them podcast followers are thirsty. Good. Fuck it. Well, it's on YouTube already. Oh.
I got people all over. Not your page so much, but...
No. Oh, they saw the pre-show earlier. They're like, man, what the fuck is going on over there?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have waited all week.
Yeah, Boogie Page. Throwing it down for All Things BMX is ready. I know I am. Just hack the ATV Airways. Let's kick it. All Things BMX. It's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. Like and subscribe, kick back and relax. And it's All Things BMX. It's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. So like and subscribe, kick back and relax. All Things BMX are streaming to you. So post up on your couch, screencast to YouTube. It's gonna be fun, it will be a blast. You gotta do much but kick back and relax. They coming to you live from a studio, or they might be at the track, man, you never know. So don't go anywhere when my rhymes are done, cause the show's just starting, let's have some fun. I said it's All Things BMX, it's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. So like and subscribe, kick back and relax. I said it's All Things BMX, it's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. So like and subscribe, kick back and relax. All Things BMX got the boogeyman's back, so I wrote them this track to send some love back. JT, Melissa, Chris and Paul, DJ Damon, can I get it entertain y'all? And I wonder who they'll have on the show as a guest. I bet someone good who's gonna impress. Guess I will just have to wait and see. Let's get the show going and start the party. Said it's All Things BMX, it's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. Like and subscribe, kick back and relax. Said it's All Things BMX, it's a BMX show. Unlike the rest, if you need some info, they got the best. Like, subscribe, kick back and relax.
All right, welcome into the All Things BMX Show. It's Season 3, Episode 130, already there. Tonight we're going to be talking Hall of Fame action, and we got a couple guests lined up for us that's going to be calling in. And we also have a very special co-host this evening. Brian, how are you?
130 shows.
130. Well, that's the official Wednesday night shows. We've also done the Friday night shows, too. We're actually somewhere right close, about 200.
It's a lot of shows.
It's a lot of shows. It's a lot of work.
Good stuff.
So if you don't know, Brian is the owner of ProGate, if you can't tell by the background at his shirt. He's joining us this evening as our co-host.
Along with Justin Miller.
The
brains of the operation.
He is the brains.
For sure.
That dude will talk sometimes. I'm like, I don't know. He knows that he makes everything happen behind the scenes there. The opening song is brought to you by the Boogeyman himself. Make sure you guys check him out. The link's in the chat. He's famous. Last night at practice, the kids were talking and singing his song. Our opening song.
He's a talented kid.
He's famous.
He does a lot of cool stuff.
Does the T-Bone Hustle, too.
He does.
Did that song. You guys don't forget, you can support the show. You can send us stars on Facebook. If you're on Facebook right now watching, you guys can click and send stars. Or you can head on over to our Buy Me a Coffee page, and you're not going to buy us a coffee, but you are going to be able to support the page by sending us a donation to the page. Our studio is brought to you by Desoto BMX under the Big Top, which has been relocated to Cape Coral, Florida. Melissa is back at the Hartland studio. She'll be joining us here in a second. And the show's chat is brought to you by our good friends at BMX Rocks Photography. As always, the chat question is brought to us by our good friends at Bombshell Racing System. Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing good. Hi, everybody.
Good to have you joining us from the Hartland studios. Now we're official with 2 studios.
It was a little easier to tolerate today because it was actually 65 here. So,
Ooh.
beautiful day.
Wait till December when you ask her that question. It'll be
No.
so nice with the answer on that.
There'll be some choice finger motions there.
Yeah, it was 90 today. It was hot. It was hot.
It was hot today.
Our chat question this evening for everybody listening is awesome, and Melissa put this one together. Who is your favorite dynamic duo brother combination in BMX? Is it the Kings, Anderson, Pattersons, or any other brothers, sisters? Doesn't matter. Brother, sister, 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 brothers. Who's your favorite dynamic duo? Put it in the chat. Let us know. We'll holler it out later. Tonight's BMX Showcase is sponsored by Answer BMX. And let's see what else we got. Damon isn't here this evening, so you guys won't have the DJ. He'll be back soon. He said he's going to come down and join us, so we're going to be able to set him up a DJ booth. The birthday shout-outs are brought to you by On Two Wheels. And as always, Answer brings you the showcase. And the show opening is brought to you by our good friends at Gate 9, the live stream. If you're watching this evening, special shout-out to Mega Design Group. The owner is going to be joining us here in a little while as he was a guest out at the Hall of Fame ceremonies that we're going to be discussing this evening. He also has a special announcement to make on what he did over at brandedpopup.com along with Mega Design Group for his donation for the hurricane. And the podcast version, it's popping lately. It's brought to you by Dye Job Apparel. And I have a special shout out, ladies and gentlemen, to Jill Jones for my new haircut. It's my Florida haircut. Jill, I had to wear a hat to separate so it didn't look like I had a little spinny thing here. But special thanks, Jill Jones. You can find her at the Salonplex in Cape Coral on Pine Island Road. Get over there. Check her out. Everybody, welcome into the show. Brian, you excited for this evening?
Very excited.
All right, let's get our guest on the phone, and let's jump into it here. It's going to be a good night. And as we said, we're talking Hall of Fame tonight, so we're going to get Mr. Fell on the phone, and he was a guest there, and it was his first trip, so we're going to get his perspective. And then joining us after Brian is going to be Tracer Finn, who is the master of ceremonies. Brian, how are you?
What's happening?
Man, happy to have you on the show. As we were saying before you jumped on, you were there. You were a guest, and take us through how everything was, and give us some highlights on it and the Hall of Fame and all that fun stuff.
Man, I gotta tell you, I can appreciate like collectors and rebuilds and refurbishing bikes and stuff. You're not gonna appreciate all that, but I don't really get into it so much. I'm always kind of looking forward. But going to the Hall of Fame museum, it was cool because everything there was like the real McCoy. Everything there was like all the helmets in the case were like really used by, the legends of our sport. And that part to me was like just super cool. It was really awesome to see. And just to see all that history and stuff. Like the one thing that sticks out in my mind the most is I believe it's RRS made the first 24-inch cruiser ever. And that cruiser is in the museum.
Wow.
Like, I didn't know it, but, like, they used to all race 26-inch cruisers. And then RRS came in and made a 24-inch, and that just changed the entire cruiser world. And to have that bike, the first one, the actual one, on display right there is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And then getting to see, all the legends that come back, and it's like a like Super Bowl stuff, like everybody that's in the Hall of Fame all shows up, or the Hall of Fame induction stuff. They carry on that kind of tradition, which is really cool. So pretty rad.
So your evening there, you had went with Alice, and she was donating the President's Cup. For those of you guys that remember that from the NBL days, it was a cup that was awarded to the state that won at the President's Cup race. How was that, and how was that perceived? And did they have a space for it already there at the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, it was cool. I called it the football. She was like, "Get the trophy," and I got the football. She was really excited to do this, because it's kind of like the mending of fences, so to speak, and to have something NBL in the museum is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because the NBL lost the war, but they still have a lot of history,
mm-hmm.
With the NBL and a lot of crossover stuff. And it's really cool that they made space for it in one of the cabinets, and it's in there next to some a couple Nora cups, I think, and a couple of their title cups.
Nice.
So it was cool, and it was cool to go out there with Alice, and Debbie Diaz was with us as well, and it was really cool. They got a little emotional. Mm-hmm. when they were giving it to him, because it's been a long time coming, and Alice just bleeds BMX, so she was super stoked to be there, which was I was excited for her. That's how excited she was. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a cool thing. And then they did a deal, and Gork took some pictures, of the handing of the trophy over and mm-hmm. everything. It was cool.
Very nice.
It was really cool.
How was the open bar?
It was, I'll be honest with you. There's no way in hell they would have ran out of liquor. Because they had a lot of bottles. They were prepared. You know what I mean? They were prepared. And I don't think anybody really overindulged, besides, this dude named Gene Roden he's an old time announcer and stuff, and he was there, and he had his cowboy hat and his belt buckle on, and he was doing a little jig dancing around towards the end of the night. That was pretty funny. But,
very nice.
He was a handful, but man, they did a really good job. And I'm not saying they had a lot of alcohol, like it was sloppy. They had a lot of alcohol, like they were prepared for what was going to happen.
Very cool.
They didn't want to. I personally believe there was the first one there. So, mm-hmm. and it was the first time they had a reception on Friday night. Usually the whole thing is on Saturday night, and people are like seeing each other as they get there, and there's like an hour and a half of like cocktail hour or whatever they call it. And you got to break people away from each other to get them to sit down so they could start.
Mm-hmm.
Well, having a reception on Friday night was the best thing they could have ever done, because everybody just wandered around and talked to each other, for 3 hours. So you kind of got it out of your system, and then anybody you wanted to hang out with more so, you could do on Saturday afternoon. You could go to lunch and still bullshit with them, and then by the time they get to the actual ceremony on Saturday night, you're kind of talked out a little bit. And that's not by design. You're just like you're kind of just like, you're not so awestruck on who's there. Mm-hmm. You've already talked to everybody pretty much.
And how was the presentation? Which, by the way, we'll have the link in the chat, because USA BMX actually has it up on YouTube. You can watch the whole presentation. But how was that? How was that put together?
It was pretty cool. Cash Matthews is usually the MC, and he contracted COVID mm-hmm. and had to scratch on Saturday morning. So Tracer Finn stepped in, and I've been in that kind of situation before, and it's hard to fill somebody's shoes like that. I would imagine Cash wouldn't have needed any cue cards, any kind of anything, mm-hmm. and he was prepared. Tracer was kind of picking the ball up, halfway down the field and running it in,
mm-hmm.
and he did a killer job, because he knows most of those guys, and he's a professional.
Mm-hmm.
He's a true pro. So it was great. The whole thing was really, really good. And I highly recommend, if you've never been to one, go to one. I'm not on commission or any of that kind of crap. I'm just telling you, it was an awesome time, especially if you happen to like the people getting in, especially if you're friends with them or whatever.
Mhm.
It's a great time. Everybody kind of drops their guard down, and you can talk to anybody. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. You had talked about going? Weren't you gonna go, Brian? But then the hurricane and all that shit.
Yeah, we just, it's definitely something we want to go to. We went to the opening when they opened up the Hall of Fame. Very cool to walk around, just see all the old school stuff there. But we didn't make it.
What'd you think of the track, Brian Fell?
Honestly, I
Mhm.
didn't even look at it.
Hey, that just tells you the event was awesome.
I didn't even go outside.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing that is cool, and it's kind of a weird subject, and I think we talked about it before, the Black Wall Street,
Mm-hmm.
that whole situation, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, and everybody should Google Black Wall Street and do your own homework and research on this travesty that happened out there. But it happened in Tulsa in 1921, and it's been 100 years, and they're finally like addressing the area, revitalizing it, and that's where the Hall of Fame and the track they're built like right in the middle of this whole area. But the reason why I'm telling you this is, as you're walking into the building and all the pictures you see, there's chimney stacks. There's pieces of a chimney stack out in front in the main part as you're walking up, and it's got some stairs to nowhere, which I'm not really sure the symbolism what it means, but all that stuff is there as a symbol for Black Wall Street and the travesty that happened. So they're honoring it by being there, and they're honoring it with those statues and stuff. And I mean, I think it's really professional.
Yeah,
And
that sounds great.
It's a good homage to what happened, and anybody that looks it up is going to be like, holy crap, that really happened.
That's exactly what I did. Is I went down that rabbit hole for like a good 45 minutes, an hour, just reading on it, and it's wild. It's good reading, and I know there is a book on it. I can't think of the name right now, but definitely, everyone's got a device in their hands. Just Google it. So, out of the class that went in for 2022, who are you most excited to see make it into the Hall of Fame this year?
I guess I would say Tara Yanes,
Mm-hmm.
because I knew Tara way back when, and for all the travesty that she's gone through, getting hurt, and how she's turned her whole life around. Though she plays basketball for Canada
Mm-hmm.
now, and evidently she's pretty good. And it was cool to meet her girlfriend, and I saw her mom, who I haven't seen in 30 years, and that was pretty wild. And that it's like a high school reunion is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just cool to see everybody and catch up. And like Stumpy, I was pretty stoked for Stumpy too, because I haven't seen him since I worked for USA Cycling, and we were in Madrid, and he got KO'd there. And the first thing I said to him was like, holy shit, Stump, I haven't seen you since Madrid, and he was like, yeah, I know. And it was just funny. And I thought he was a teacher, but he's actually a principal now. So he's a first year principal.
Principal Stump Dog.
Which is pretty wild. So, I mean, it's just all that stuff, and to me, it's so cool when people make it out after BMX.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing something, with what they've given and what the skill set they've been learning, their whole BMX career, because that just follows the path for Stumpy. As a teacher, he was always a great clinic instructor and learned how to talk to the kids, and his faith has been huge to him. So it's just good to see him close everything out by getting in the hall.
Nice. We got a lot of stuff going in the chat, so we're going to toss it over to Melissa for
Well, I actually have a question for Brian first.
Oh.
Personal question. What on the average does it cost to attend an event like that? And is it open to the public?
I think tickets were $150, and to be honest with you, worth every penny. Because
Was that
it was $150, and that got you into the reception on Friday night, and then the reception, and then the ceremony on Saturday, and there's a dinner on Saturday, and then alcohol both nights, and there's hors d'oeuvres on Friday night. And the hors d'oeuvres,
not bad at all.
They were like meatball, bacon wrapped shrimp, or bacon wrapped scallop or something, and then something else and something else. But they were good. It was bottomless, you know. So, and
that's not bad at all. That I wasn't quite sure what I would expect, but that doesn't sound unreasonable at all for a weekend with all the perks there.
And you're seeing everybody, and there's no, to put it bluntly, there's no kooky people, you know, because if you're gonna spend that kind of money, you're gonna fly right, you know, you're gonna act right. So.
All right.
I think it's well worth it. I wouldn't even balk at it again.
Very nice. All right, Melissa, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry. No, I was still thinking questions. All right. Sorry, I'm not on the right page. I apologize. Give me a second. Okay. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Sorry about that. This is a little disconnected for me, but I want to say hi to Low and Slow over on YouTube. Sean Gifford, Dijob Apparel is with us on Facebook. Robert Cardoza's hanging out on YouTube. Thanks. We appreciate you guys. Our good pal Damon's with us. Mike Miranda, otherwise known as Hollywood's also here. Rick Carter of the Beer Budget BMX Show is tuning in. Randall David, a Michigan native up here, is with us. As is Zach Goss. He's another one of the good friends of the show. John Hinkle was commenting that the Hall of Fame was an awesome event. He was so happy to have been there. Len Novak says, "What's up, everybody?" They're all looking for pork chop. Brian's on his evening off from pork chop. Let's see, a couple of shares on their favorite dynamic duo. Damon says he's a big fan of the King family. Kim Benson Fugger says the Bramer brothers is her fave. Mike Miranda says that he has a preference for Tommy Brackens and Mike Miranda. They're the best twin brothers in BMX.
Yeah.
John Hinkle also pulling for the Kings. But he said his favorite combo is actually the Foster brothers.
Good one. Good one.
Rick shared Nick and Jackson Elliott, who happen to be Cherry, Elliott's nephews. Another dynamic duo. John brought up the Torker twins as well. Well, that would be what Mike Hollywood said. Okay, I'm putting it all together here. This is what happens when you read on the fly. Rusty Roberts is tuning in. We appreciate you. Noah Robinson's with us. Rick also shouting out Ricky and Macy Carter as the dynamic twins. Tank's in the chat over on YouTube. What's up, buddy? Let's see who else. Oh, Kurt Bliss. Haven't heard too much from him lately. I guess we can tell all the Michigan tracks are getting quiet. All of our friends are not racing on Wednesday nights anymore. Billy from Gate 9 Number Plates is voting for Jack and Diet Mountain Dew as the best duo in the sport.
Of course it is.
Which many would probably echo that. So I got you. James Vicario is tuning in. Another stranger we haven't seen in a while. He's probably been working his butt off too. Almost to the bottom here. Mike Miller's tuning in. He says, gotta say, Tracer Finn did an amazing job. Cash Matthews, as Brian Fell had mentioned, gotten sick, and Tracer got the call about 20 minutes before curtain call, no prep, and he killed it. So that was a nice little shout out to Tracer there. Oh, Justin Tompkins, did you see that Alicia Jackson is in the chat?
Miss Jackson's joining us. How are you?
We miss you. John Hinkle says it was actually a high school reunion for him. He got to see some old classmates from junior high and high school, which would have been Doug Davis. So that's small world there. Nick Valencia is tuning in over on Facebook. Thanks for joining us. Darlene Wilson's here. We appreciate you. I'm gonna let your husband read that other comment. Sean Gifford says pork chop and bacon bits, best duo.
Yes. Got a vote in there.
I like
for
that
him.
one
I
too.
like it.
Roman Gomez is over on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. He says, hi, Brian. It's Noodles.
Yep, they're from West Palm.
Okay.
They came over and did a bunch of donations for the Cape Coral track for the families that had lost everything. So Ray and the Okehilly track, I think they came over and donated $1,500 they raised at the Okehilly track. So that's pretty cool.
That's amazing. Lastly, Damon put another shout out for the Tom Hill and Stu Thompson for another dynamic duo there. So Scott Wire also tuning in.
Yeah, I could go on that one. All right, thanks,
So
Melissa.
thanks everybody, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, and I want a special shout out to Sean Gifford for some Facebook stars. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you very much.
Oh, look, Chris Beard just voted for the Patterson brothers. Didn't they ride
Yep.
Did they ride on Hutch bikes, Chris? Wasn't that the thing they rode on?
He came in just under the wire there.
And we have our first guest on here, Brian Fell. He's on the phone with us. We'll kind of transition from the Hall of Fame here for a second, Brian, because there's a couple things I wanted to make sure we got to. First and foremost, you had did some fundraising last month through your company for the hurricane relief. You want to let us know how that went and just give us the rundown on it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really say a whole lot about it. We just kind of made it known and then let it run its course. And we raised $890.
Oh, congratulations!
Impressive.
I reached out to Nick Jones, and I'm gonna give a check to Nick in Daytona this weekend. So
Nice.
It's gonna go, I believe, to the families in Cape Coral also.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, I don't know if they're doing the same 3 families for all this stuff, but there was quite a few people impacted. We'll talk later about a big fundraiser they had the other night at the Halloween race, but a lot of people reached out and helped everybody in the Cape Coral area that needed help.
Yeah, and a lot of other tracks too. It was really nice. Well, that gives a great segue to Daytona that you're going to be at this weekend. The kickoff of the Florida State Series. Give us a little rundown what you're looking forward to.
I'm just excited to get the season going again. I really enjoy our SCR season because it's seasonal. You can in May you can pack up your stuff for a little while and reset yourself, reset your wallet, reset everything, and I have a good time at the SCRs. It's just people hanging out, racing bikes, and having a good time. So
How about
looking
you?
forward to that.
I'll second that because the last year or two, we've missed a lot of the Florida State Series, and it's going to be nice to be home, to be within a couple hours of the house, see the same people at the same races, at the same tracks, and just kind of get back to the home cooking kind of BMX experience.
Exactly. I just like to see. I mean, I know it's kind of cliche and it sounds kind of kooky or whatever, but our BMX family, and I just like to see everybody, because it's the first race of the season, so some of the people you haven't seen for 5 months, over the summer, and it's time to get back to it.
And I think it's going to be a little bit different this year because of what happened with Hurricane Ian. and people just being a little more grateful, a little more thankful to see all the kind gestures that were done from all the tracks. I mean, we had people from all different tracks coming to Cape Coral with chainsaws, just wanting to help. What can we do? You know, and it's been really cool to see that. And there've been tons of people that have done it. Some people don't even want recognition for it. They're just doing it because they want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll flip the script on it. Justin, what was your initial thought? Because you've never seen anything like that before.
Well, seeing the championship last year was absolutely
No. Like Ian, Hurricane Ian.
Oh man! So I got down here 3 weeks after
2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks after the hurricane, and it's still horrific. There's still families displaced. Like, you can just go up the main drag here in Cape Coral and see some of the apartment complexes that are just people aren't in them because of the water damage, wind damage. And certain areas you drive around with Fort Myers over the bridge.
Yeah, Fort Myers.
Yeah, Fort Myers. You go over and you really can see a lot of damage coming off the canal the river. Is that a river? Or is that just a big ass canal?
Cochahatchee River. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Cochahatchee River. Like, you just see so much more damage there, and there's still lots of stuff piled by the road. Like trees that have fallen over. They haven't been able to get around and pick them up, and they got crews. You were showing me they've got crews running like every day for 10, 12 hours picking this stuff up, and it's still like, when you drive around, it's like, man, have they even started? And you got cupboards and couches and beds by the road they're waiting to get rid of. It's different.
Coffee tables, end tables, kitchen sinks, appliances. I mean, it's all at the road, and that's somebody's life.
That's
somebody. They woke up, they took the clothes out of those dressers. That's their whole life at the street.
We had our friends, Boogie, the kid that does the opening song, their family, they had their home. It was up north,
in Northport.
And they lost a lot of stuff, and they had to pick up. And luckily, that there's people that helped them out find a place to get moved into, but they just finished getting everything out of their home. And
yesterday, a month. It took them a month to regroup, move stuff.
Yep. And we've been, the work I'm down doing, I'm seeing a lot of the damage firsthand by even walking through these homes. And I'll tell you one thing, they don't discriminate. We've been through multi-million-dollar homes and just regular homes, and the damage is just, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I think you're right, Brian. You hit it on the head when just everyone's going to grateful to get back together. I hear a lot of people excited to be get that first state race going off. So the big thing is over and under. Where do we think the moto count's going to be?
122.
122.
I would like to see. I think 160 is a reachable number.
Okay.
Because they do this crazy thing on Sunday called the Turkey Open.
Yeah, can you tell us about that?
If you make the main, and they have the regular open classes, and if you make the main, you get a turkey.
What?
like a 5 or 7.
They give you a gift card, and you go to Publix, and you get your turkey.
Yeah, and you'll see it. They'll have they usually bring back a freezer truck or something, and it's got all the turkeys in it. And you can do the math. It's a couple hundred turkeys, I think. And
dude,
it's so crazy to see these kids, like an 8-year-old kid running around with a big turkey.
I already can see Pork Chop dragging one around already,
beating his brother over the head with it.
But at the same time, some of these families get like 2 or 3 turkeys. They're stoked.
Dude, you're done.
Like you
gotta trade one for some potatoes
and you cook up one in a couple weeks.
Nice.
So Jill Jones just shared in the chat that she thinks it's gift cards this year.
Okay. Hey, I'll take a Publix gift card. I'm there pretty much every day.
Right.
Well, I specifically remember in Jacksonville, which it might have been one of the first couple times they did it, but all these kids running around Jacksonville track with turkeys. I specifically remember that. Nice. It was so funny.
And I know Jill just got in here, so it'll be a repeat. Jill, thanks for the haircut today. We gave you a nice plug for the salon and where you can find the salon here in Cape Coral earlier on. Thanks again, Jill. Appreciate it.
I want to share a little story, kind of what my hurricane adventure was like. We own some rental property. We're heavy vested in real estate. And, when a hurricane comes, it's going to wreck real estate. So that's troubling when you own a lot of real estate. But what happened was we were at our condos because we had to evacuate our home. And we wondered how our home was going to fare because it was in a mandatory evacuation zone. And Darlene texted one of our neighbors. And our neighbor said, I'm sorry, it's probably not going to be very good news because the house behind your house in Kitty Corner, here's some pictures of it. It's got 4 feet of water inside the house.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
So that was on, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday night when the hurricane hit. And we, Darlene and myself, kind of sat down and we accepted the fact that we were going to go to our house the next day or whenever we could get there. Mm-hmm. And we weren't going to have anything left. I mean, there was going to be major damage to our house. And anything that wasn't on a hanger, this is what I'm thinking in my head.
Sure.
Like, my shirts might be okay because they're on a hanger. But anything else below the hanger, it's not going to be there. Well, we went back to the house whenever we were allowed to or could get there, a day later, and we opened up the front door, and there was no water in the house.
Wow,
But we had gone through the emotional
yeah.
talk and acceptance. So anything that did happen, I don't give a shit about because we thought we had lost a lot. So
I remember getting a text from you. You were
I thought all the BMX stuff in the garage was gone. I just from the pictures, and it wasn't because anybody lied to us or anything.
Right.
Just that's what we assumed had happened. So we're very lucky, and there's a million stories like that. Mm-hmm. Ours had a relatively good ending. We still have $200,000 worth of damage that we've got to find a way to fix, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. We have our house, and a lot of people don't. So that's why I think this is going to be a great state series. Yeah. People can forget about what happened. They can help each other out emotionally, mentally, financially, whatever it is. And we're going to see a great state series. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I think it even started with the Halloween race at Cape Coral the other night. You started to see it there with the fundraising they did for the families and that.
Yeah, some anonymous donor matched up to $5,000 in donations.
That's
doesn't
amazing.
want their name out there. Nobody doesn't want anybody to know, but they said we'll match up to $5,000. Whatever you guys can raise. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And they threw that together pretty quick, so they ended up raising $10,000, and then that's where Brian Fell's donations going to too. So that'll stay local. It's going to help the BMX family, and that's the good thing about our sport. So you said how many motos? 100.
Does that mean that guy's going to break off another 1,000?
He said up to $5,000.
5,000.
And they hit $5,000 Saturday.
I think they did way more than 10 because they raised 5. He matched 5. Then Ray Gomez brought stuff over from money from Okehila. I think it was like $1,500. So Brian Fell's gonna ship 800. They may be 15,000, 20,000.
Yeah,
you're almost in Nick Long territory here.
You're right. Yeah.
Well, I just don't want to get some guy mad at me. Trying to do the thing.
That's no.
So I said 122. I'm being conservative.
122. Okay. Fell said 160, right?
I'm thinking we could hit 160.
All
we're
right.
gonna be in the 150s, I think.
All right, I'll go 148.
Be a great weekend.
If you're in the chat, sound off. Let us know what your moto count is. And I'll tell you what, we're going to do a couple commercials. We'll be right back. You guys don't go anywhere.
Sports World, the best value in the world on bikes, parts, and equipment.
It's time.
We are back. We want to thank ProGate for supporting the show along with Bombshell Racing System. And joining us this evening in the studio, we have one of the owners of ProGate in the studio. And we also have Brian Fell from Mega Design Group on the phone with us. And we have Melissa from the Hartland All Things BMX studio. And Brian and I are here in the Cape Coral All Things BMX studio.
The C to it.
The C to it All Things BMX studio.
There we go.
We are in Unit A, hanging out up here.
We've done this before here, kind of.
Oh yeah, we did. We did one on the patio. Remember, Billy was wearing the helmet in like 100-degree weather, and he just stood in the back like DVS.
You and Boogie did a show from the patio too.
We did.
Well, that was my house, though.
No, Boogie and I did one, and then you and I did one too from the house.
Yeah.
We've had a few shows. Before we went to commercial break, we were talking with Brian Fell. We were talking about Daytona.
Ooh, 195 and a half.
195 and a half. Gate 9 coming in hot on that one.
Rick Carter, 135.
We got a quite a...
Stick with Nick, 144. Now, he might have some inside information.
He could have some inside information.
He was texting Luna.
He might have texted Luna to ask for the inside info. So, Chill with Jill comes in at 148 on it. We're right in there, right in the ballpark. With Fell, before we jump off, we're gonna get Mr. Tracer Finn on here in a few. Was there anything else you wanted to add about the Hall of Fame? And please take a minute to plug branded pop-ups and Mega Design.
No, I mean, like I said, I can appreciate yesteryear and stuff, but I just think everybody should take a look at some of this memorabilia that's been assembled there.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a facility, and I know everybody like makes comments about, oh, they got all the money, they should have a great facility, blah blah blah. But let me tell you, it's really nice when you walk through there. It's like, all right, they did a really good job on this. They didn't cheese out, and Gork did a good job with the timeline. I mean, all the information. If you could spend hours in there just reading the walls.
I agree with that. When we were there, it was like, and what's cool is you look up, it just keeps going. So all around you, like, it goes all the way to the ceiling. Ceilings are 30 foot tall, whatever. It's really
Is that where aren't the bikes like way up there
there's
too?
bikes, there's helmets, there's jerseys.
Oh, wow.
Well, the cool part is too, they've got so much stuff, they don't have enough space for it.
They rotate it, right?
So they're going to rotate through
Wow.
different displays.
That's great.
Like for example, like at this one they had TJ's jump bike,
Mm-hmm.
and Tracer's got a good story about that.
Mhm.
But they had his tramp bike hanging up in the ceiling, and it's not like a replica of his tramp bike. It's like the actual one, all dirty and dusty and crappy and used. It's just super cool. I think it's super cool to see that stuff. That's one thing I don't think our sport has, and that's a hold of our past.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
We don't hold on to it like ball and stick sports do.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be awesome if we could get to that point. I had a conversation with B.A. Anderson while I was there, and he gave us a tour around Tulsa, around that whole area, around Black Wall Street, like I was mentioning. But he showed me a picture of a sticker collection, and he was like super stoked that they found all these stickers in his garage or something. And I was like, dude, how do we get back to that? How do we get back to kids walking around? I know we give out some stickers during the weekends.
Sure.
But it's not like it used to. Kids used to collect. And I don't know if that's a a sign of the times that people just don't collect that much stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're kind of like minimalists in that regard compared to back a long time ago. Everybody collected something. You know, whether you collected stamps, coins, stickers, bikes, cars, motorcycles,
now everything's
whatever.
virtual. Like you got the things you buy,
Bitcoin,
NTFs or whatever.
NFTs.
NFTs. I mean, those are virtual. That's the problem. Like, there's nothing real anymore in the world.
Yeah, how do we?
And that's it. I mean, I want kids to come up to me with a bag of stickers, going, "Do you have any stickers for me?" And yeah, I got some for you. You know, I want to see that happen again. You know, stickers on refrigerators. You know, stickers on toolboxes. You know, well, actually, you don't have toolboxes anymore. You got like a bag with 3 tools in it.
Yeah, that's true.
But Allen wrenches.
But what about the days of getting stickers and tagging your friends' cars, though? We got to get those days back.
All that stuff. The tangent stickers. I love
you
BMX moms. Yeah. Those were the best.
Yeah. So here's a question I wanted to ask. With all the stuff that they got in the Hall of Fame, do they have one of Brian Fell's rental cars there yet?
Oh shit! All right, I got a funny story for you, real quick.
Okay.
I'm eating lunch in the dining room in the restaurant at the hotel on Saturday, and there's a table next to me, and it's got like 10 people at it. And TJ Lavin walks up, and he starts talking to those people, and evidently they're people from Vegas. And then I'm just letting him have his conversation. I'm not interrupting it or anything. And then he like catches in his peripheral, he catches me, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he walks over. He's like, "What's up, Fel?" And I'm like, "What's up, TJ?" And then he goes back to his conversation with them, but he picks up. He says, "This guy over here is a legend." I remember him and Fuzzy jump in the rental car with all these big trees going by us, and we were shitting our pants. It was so funny because he broke his conversation like mid-stride, and that's where he went back to. He reverted back to us, you know, jumping a rental car. And it was just funny that he went right there.
All right, Fel, so here's the deal. My Yukon was totaled by my insurance company. I've got it probably until next week. We were going to call you for some hints, but some suggestions on how we can have fun with it.
We can see him in Dayton.
Yeah, we'll talk to you this weekend about it. Maybe we'll get some video of the last days of the Yukon.
Does it still drive?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I drive it every day.
Yeah. Just
got water damage.
Yep.
It smells like an armpit in there.
Pretty much.
You know what's really fun and pretty safe to do anyway?
Neutral drops.
No. Just get going about 140 and just hit that e-brake.
Is there one?
Yeah, and see how far you can skid. And don't turn the wheel because you're going to roll a bit. But just keep the wheel straight and this skid as far
just
as
hold
you
on.
can.
Well, expect a lot of live feeds this weekend.
we did that in Louisville. If you're going downtown to the clubs, you go on the highway and then you come through this tunnel and then you get off at a road called Grinstead Drive. And we started the e-brake before the tunnel. And we went all the way through the tunnel and then down the hill off the off-ramp and then around the corner. It was the longest e-brake I've ever done in my life. And we got in the car the next morning, and the car was in DeVito's name, and we started driving, and it was like... And he was like, "Something's wrong with the car." I'm like, "Dude, you hear that? What's wrong with that?" and we got out and we looked, and it was down to the cords. Like if we would have skid any more, we probably would have blown the tire out. But it was a brand new tire and worn straight down to the threads.
And just returned in Jeff's name.
It was in Jeff's name, and Jeff's like, "Dude, what did you do?" It was funny.
Oh man! Hey, Brian, thanks for jumping on tonight and talking to us about the Hall of Fame, your experience there. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow sometime.
Ask Tracer. Like when I walked up to him when he was talking to Fiola.
Okay.
I came up behind Tracer and I gave him a little pinch, and he didn't even break conversation at all. And then I said, "Oh, it must be a Vegas thing." and then I came back, and we were talking, and I go, "Dude, you didn't even break your sentence." He goes, "Dude, I work in Vegas," and I was like, "I told you it was a Vegas thing. I told you." It was good.
Oh, all right.
All right, you guys have a great night.
Thanks again, Brian. We'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy.
All right. That was Brian Fell joining us from Mega Design Group. I want to thank him for joining us this evening.
Did he put any branded pop-ups outside in the hurricane to test them?
He did, and absolutely nothing happened.
Okay, good. We got to see video of that.
Yeah. Melissa, was there anything?
Nick,
go ahead, hon.
did you want to talk about that last comment that Nick Jones put in the chat?
Oh, go ahead. Bring it up.
I didn't know if you had some time to chat.
Yeah, we got a few minutes before we give Mr. Finn a call here.
So Nick is putting out the conversation topic of the Grands track, which a preview was released today, I believe. And I've personally seen a lot of mixed reviews, but by no means have any opinion.
Let me pull up a picture. Did you see this, Brian?
No, I was just trying to Google it.
There was a lot of comparison to last year's track.
If anyone's got it, you can send it over to me. I'm pulling it up here in a second. Let me see here.
I think Pole had it on.
Did they?
Yeah.
Pole BMX. We're gonna go over and get that. But if you guys have saw the picture of it already, let's hear what you've got to say about it.
Well, and there's two photos that I've seen. One seemed to be like a top down, and it didn't really seem to show the best side of the design. And then there was a side view more from the starting gate that seemed to be showed the expansion of it a little bit better.
All right, I've got this here, and we're gonna put it up. And
do you know that we tried to sponsor the Tulsa sign for T-Bone?
It was 2 years ago.
The
didn't
T-Bone Tulsa turn. They wouldn't.
Oh, that would have been good.
They wouldn't do it. We wanted to have a T-Bone turn. Got to add some excitement.
Why wouldn't you be like turn 3?
I don't know.
Next year. What about? Oh no, we can talk about the thing that Miranda's doing because he put it on Facebook.
Yes, he did.
The Dirty Knobs Dirt Fest.
Yeah, we're gonna supply a gate for him.
Yeah, we can spot. Well, then Carbone Cartel can sponsor a turn. Then
there you go. We do whatever we want with Hollywood involved.
That's true. Thank you, Randall. Randall sent me this. Oh, Gifford sent it to me. All right, here. So I'll pull this back up.
So what I've heard though is they always put out these pictures of Grands, the track. Everybody freaks out, and then it's never quite exactly what they put out in the picture. So I don't know.
So we got it up here, and zooming in a little bit on it. And, yeah. You know, when I saw this, the first thing I thought about was it's kind of cool. It's not the like back and forth, like the M or W style. It
like
kind of
Cape Coral.
Well,
like every track.
Most of them are, yeah, because it's a small footprint to do that. And it's kind of neat to see, you know, a few short straights and then a long straight, and it's just going out and around. It's not the typical layout. So pretty neat there. So yeah, what are you guys in the chat thinking about with that? And I'll keep looking for some more pictures. Oh, here's another side view, a different side view of it. Are you guys excited to check this out? What do you guys think? And show the other view by Cork. Okay, I think somebody did send that to me. Give me 1 second, Nick. I'll pull that one up. And we go here.
You know, it's kind of the same thing. They always try to change the track up and do it a little bit different. Mm-hmm. But just like back when I played poker full time, everybody would complain about the venue or complain about the structure of the tournaments. You can't make everybody happy. And at a certain point, you just got to pick something and go with it.
True.
And this looks cool to me. That looks different.
I dig it. I like, Gork's drawing makes it look pretty cool. I'll, here, give me just a split second here. You talk about that, and I'll get this. So
Brian Fell's comment over on YouTube was the first straight you should in a first straight, you'd want to be able to open up, but he's not sure that that's happening there. The gate pick is going to be everything.
Well, if it's like Vegas,
Just gear down a little bit. That's right. Get out there, and maybe you should race it flat to get your foot out there in front of everybody else.
ooh, there we go. There we go.
Strategic, guys. Strategic.
There's the bigger view of the track here. Okay, this actually
Nick Long will be racing in flats.
Nick will be in flats with that $21,000 money he raised there.
Is that crazy or what?
That's awesome. So this, okay. All right, I dig this. I like this layout. I like the asterisk. Jumps subject to change. Ladies and gentlemen, they're subject to change. I'm digging it. I'm digging that. Then next year there you can have turn 3 as a T-bone turn.
The T-bone turn.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago? To me, the best part of Grands was
The X roller.
was Mosquito
Z roller.
and Tyler Brown.
Oh, and Mosquito went under him in the last turn.
But it was the most controversial thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the best part of Grands. Like, it's something to talk about.
Maybe that's what they're going for with the shorter straights.
Well, we need more of that.
I agree.
We need a little excitement. We need a little, competition. We need everything's single file all the time. Let's get people breaking it off a little bit and trying something different.
And thanks everyone sending in the pictures for me. Appreciate it. We'll see if tell you what, we're gonna go ahead and do a couple quick commercials. We'll be right back, and we'll give our next guest a phone call, and we'll have Tracer on. He was the master of ceremonies at this year's Hall of Fame. We'll be right back after this. Sure. All right, we're back. I want to say thanks to the good people over at, I missed them the first set around, DV Sports and ProGate, along with Dye Job Apparel. We appreciate you guys for supporting the show. And we are going to get our next guest on here, Mr. Tracer Finn. He played the Master of Ceremonies this past weekend.
Hey, buddy.
How are you doing, sir?
I am good, and I'm turning off all... How's my echo? I'm trying headphones.
Oh, they're fine. You're good.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Okay. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Tracer.
When you first started, I could hear you guys cussing.
I know.
I went,
Oops.
I'm on the right. I'm with the right people.
Yeah, no shit.
Which time?
Love you guys.
I thought I had the mute button on. And I'm running through, showing Brian the setup behind the scenes and everything, just dropping F-bombs and all.
It is a live show, people.
It's live. It's live. It is. Hey, so before we jump in, who is your favorite dynamic duo, Tracer?
Oh, Richie and Ronnie.
There you go. All right.
Because I was a big Richie fan, and Ronnie came along with it. And I raced Ronnie. Richie was younger. It was weird. I went, oh, so
Very
no
nice.
beef there.
So this year you were the guest MC for the 2022 Hall of Fame, and you yourself are a past Hall of Fame inductee. Why don't you tell us kind of how that role was for you, being the guy up on the stage this time, running the whole show?
Well, at about 4:15, 4:30. First, I want to back up and just say I listened to Brian and what he had said about Alice, and of course Debbie Diaz was there in the President's Cup, and how cool that little moment was. I took some pictures of it because it seemed very moving. It was over in the corner, and I went, I know her, and I took a picture and sort of took a step back and enjoyed the moment, and it looked really special. And I didn't get the whole. I was too far away to get the whole gist of it, and then now hearing the whole story, it was pretty darn special. Just to be in the room.
Very cool. Actually, I'm trying to pull up some of those pictures while you were talking about that. I think we have some over on. I'm going to go jump on Alice's page here in a second. But you got the call up this year, and you got to play MC. But before that, who are you really excited to see this year be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Well, of course, I had a really nice seat before things changed in the afternoon at TJ Levin's table, and watching him grow up and all the cool things he does behind the scenes, that was obviously the most special. But everybody, I have a little note on everybody. There was something special about everybody, whether it was history with myself or just what I've seen from afar. But the big thing was, with TJ and his parents and that whole group was very special to me for sure. Very
nice.
I think they call that full circle.
Exactly.
I don't know if I had much to do with his riding, but it sure was nice to be in the room with him. That was very cool.
Out of the displays that you saw there in the Hall of Fame, what was the one thing that jumped out at you?
The history. There was a couple of different areas. So if anybody goes to this thing, it is, first of all, the museum is phenomenal. The facility, and Brian didn't get out to the track, but they were racing little Stasics on the track, and went up to the roll-in and just did one of those stand up there, like, get me off of this thing, because we're not gonna nail it first try, and seeing that whole facility. But I thought there was such a variety, because I really like the history and parts and pieces and what the heck people rode, and there was everything from like superstars that started in BMX, that a couple that I didn't even know, Jeff Gordon and Lance Armstrong, and then there was, of course, the ones that we know, like Bob Hanna and those guys, but Slash rode BMX, and the one Jimmy Johnson, of course, but the Alessi brothers.
Really?
I don't know how many times I've seen that number 800 just whole shot and cut over, and I go, okay, well, I see where he got that. He was and Christian Craig. There was stats and info like that peppered. Gork did a great job with. We went actually twice. We went and toured, just Shelly and I, where we got to enjoy it. And that Friday night get together was fantastic. But we went a little earlier so we could really see it without the pressure. Because once you get talking, like Brian said, it just, by Saturday you're pretty much gone to all your heroes and all the people that you want to connect with or have funny stories with. But there was like Grants tracks, all of them in Tulsa, like all the different ones all lined up. There was a full timeline. There was a full X Games, like the history of the X Games. It had like BMX and pop culture, everything from on any Sunday to like these movies, you know, we all know like On Any Sunday or Chips, but there was like, and it like Over the Edge, like these little movies, A Real American Hero, I think was one. And there was, you know, TV shows like The Simpsons, I think did something, but seeing all those, like the info that you wouldn't know unless you're a historian, I guess. And then the museum stuff for the bikes and everybody's jerseys and plates, pretty impressive. Their plaques are up. I really like, I want to call them trinkets. They're cases with just a variety, just like a buffet. You'll see, you know, Jason Morton's bikes hanging up, and then you got a little kid's helmet, and they even put large Ray's helmet in for like everything that you would want for anybody if you're a freestyler or a racer. It's pretty cool, like frames and plates. And Eddie Fiola's, I think, was probably because he hung out there, and it was almost like an autograph signing session because he hung out there and talked with people and sort of gave information on his gear and his bikes, and Woody Itson was there. I think the cool thing, the Rink Raider was there. One thing I thought was cool is they had, you know how we're all influenced by motocross or whatever. They had the Yamaha bike next to the Kawasaki bike, next to the Suzuki bike.
Oh.
And you're going, who would have thought of that? Like, and it's nothing that that's continued, obviously, but, you know, talk about heavy hitters. You know, they all had their fingers in the pie early. The cruisers Brian talked about, and just the 26s. You're right; they look like behemoths. Evolution of frames, like the hanging on the wall, pretty cool. Olympians bikes. I don't know, just I would say like the Eddie Fiola setup, because he was actually just standing there. You know, it was like you put a quarter in him and he'll talk to you. You know, that was pretty cool.
So what's the story on how you ended up hosting this event?
Oh boy. Well, Cash has done it for the last 15 years, and you know, he's a poet. And I was actually hadn't even pre-gamed, just was still getting ready about 4:15, something like that, 4:30. Doors were at 5, and I got a call that I didn't have the name on it. And I was, you know, with all these political things lately, I thought, oh, okay, it's just a, you know, spam or something. So I answered it real quick, and I sort of got the rundown and was asked to sit, if I would like to sit in. And I went, oh boy, you know, talk about not being prepared. Makes you sort of like that surprise test in school.
Pop quiz.
And they tell you that, they say, well, you should have listened. We went over that today. You know, I definitely was surprised. But what I immediately went to was, I was honored, because just to sort of stand up there and not fall over would have been, you know, the goal. You know, you don't replace Cash. You just say the words in between and do the best you can. So that was a surprise, and went down and tried to grab some info and help with the production. You know, at least I know a little bit about production. And you know, you guys know, doing these shows, it's you could do this stuff all day long at home with your computer and testing and test 1, 2 and send it to the next room or your next computer. But you do it with a bunch of 300 people that you're enamored with and sitting in the room staring at you. It's a whole different game.
Right.
That's for sure. So,
hence the swear words.
How that.
Yeah.
What's that?
Hence the swear words. That's how they slip out.
You know, I don't even know. I watched a couple minutes and was uncomfortable because, I've been blessed with being able to sit there and have a cold beverage and a steak dinner and watch somebody else do all the work. And, being there and wanting to not mess up was way more than trying to nail it. It was more about, at least everyone there that knows me knows that I give, 110% respect to everyone and I appreciate everybody's, contributions. I just may not know everything about them, but, at least I went in there with that in mind, and I think it turned out okay. I didn't fall over. And, a few quirks here and there, and speeches are only as good as, how much you put in and practice. And I didn't practice at all. I was just making sure I was making sure I was in the right spot and making sure I could say the names correctly. That's for sure.
Well, everyone that's everything I've read, whether it's in our chat this evening or, on social media, said you nailed it. You did great, yep. Fantastic, amazing. Like you had prepared weeks and weeks in advance, and we thank you for that. So, Brian brought up earlier, if you can go. Is that something you would echo yourself to everyone?
Yes, and when you asked about the Hall of Fame bit, is they used to do the Hall of Fame at the Grands. They just have it in a ballroom, and I was talking to Eddie King once, and he saw how things were progressing with Chula Vista and the Olympic Center and the big stage and all the lighting, all the production, and he actually said, "This is a quote." He goes, "I want a do-over." Because there's some of our biggest and most rock star legends were inducted before there was fanfare, and then we come along and get to, get a steak dinner and your name called out in lights, and that's it coming from like Chula Vista. And I think the biggest part of it was the museum used to just be portable. Mm-hmm. And it used to be what people would, you remember they've set it up at the Grands, and then they have to tear it down, throw it in the truck, store it. Mm-hmm. So the continuity and progression was limited by storage space or how much time you had to dig into your storage unit. And having a single place and knowing Gork, I followed a few of his runs to pick things up from people. Mm-hmm. I knew that there was effort, and then once seeing it live, you go, okay, if you have something and your kids don't want it and it means something in the BMX world, make a copy of it and donate the original one, and let it live on. It's definitely was so iconic to have, like Brian said, having some of the original stuff in there just was exceptional. There's some repop stuff for memory's sake, but mm-hmm. There's some pretty original stuff, especially the helmets and the personal gear. That's, I think, was my favorite part.
What do you have there on display?
I have a helmet with the scratch pointing outward where I got knocked out, and I have a sequence shot of me being knocked out. And when I look at the helmet, I had actually lost track of it. It's one of those things where we didn't think it was a big deal. If somebody wanted your helmet or a jersey back then, you just, oh, sure. So I had lost track of that, and Gork found that and resurfaced it. So for me personally, my helmet was probably, the biggest thing for me, and a few documents. And I brought a book that Stephen Murray signed with his mouth to give to the magazine room, mm-hmm. or, the archives room, which it was very special to me, but I thought it might even be better for other people. So I don't have a ton, but TJ does now. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I want to say thanks for jumping on with us this evening. It was great hearing from you.
We did have a question, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tracer, we
Yeah.
were talking earlier about what the sanction gives to the
right.
people in the Hall of Fame, and one of the things that everybody talks about is entry fees. So like Eric Roop and Harry Larry and all these guys that are in the Hall of Fame that still race, they get entry fees paid for life, is what we're told. Can you verify that? And are there other perks that you get from being in the Hall of Fame?
Ooh, wow. Well, that
is there a
coming
secret
from
handshake?
Bone, that's loaded a little bit. I always want to say the good things, which is all the friendships and it's sort of being able to even be in the same room as some of these cats. But you do get entry fees at nationals and locals. I've never asked, and I always pay for practice. And with a drive-by, whatever I have in my pocket, I don't ask twice. If I have 10, I don't even know how much practice is. It's whatever I have on me. I throw, and everybody's so nice. They're like, "Oh, wait, your change." You're like, "No, this is so local races." And I raced the Gold Cup, and I paid retail. I didn't ask anybody, but I didn't think that was the local tracks putting it on, and Whitney Mesa and everybody's putting out their efforts.
Mm-hmm.
But the nationals, I can blend in, and I'm not gonna cost them a trophy. Let's put it that way. I'm taking some laps, and I'm up there enjoying my friends. Yeah, I'm not gonna hurt the bottom line on a national, that's for sure. But the other perks really is I don't know, because I pretty much had all these friendships before. I was on the ballot for 14 years, so I'm not one of those guys saying, "Oh, I deserve this, I deserve that," or "You should get this or that." Sort of being on the list was pretty cool, and actually would have been fine with me. Some people think different. With there's so many people that are deserving. You could take every name and put 50 behind it, and they're deserving. But yeah, just the national entry fees and nothing really else. I guess you get your plaque and the recognition to walk up on stage with all the people that you were friends with. I'll tell you the coolest thing. Gork and Shannon called me together because I've been around it forever, and they told me, because it was one of those things that it was such a big deal. They got on a conference call and called me together, and I was with my parents at a vacation, and I did not even tell them. I waited and called my track director, who started BMX in Vegas, and that was my first call. So I guess the most rewarding thing was calling him and letting him know that what he did and what he started and all their work and their family's work, the Williams family, that actually, if you said, grab, you have a hurricane coming, what are the 3 things you grab? And that memory, I don't have to grab it. It's always with me. So I guess those are the 2 things, entry fees and those good memories. Does that sort of answer your question?
Very cool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you, if you could get a redo after, being out there in Tulsa, because you were inducted at the Olympic Center, right, at Chula Vista?
Yes.
So would you do a redo and have it at Tulsa?
Wow. I guess it's apples and oranges, because mine was special, but the whole weekend, like the family weekend experience. Like every story I've had, except for having to go up on stage, I enjoyed with my wife, and TJ's family, and giving them a tour, and having that sort of 1-2 punch. I think family wise, and if you're going in the Hall of Fame and maybe your cousin goes, or your kids that just think, oh, dad's an old guy and used to ride a bike, those little bikes on a track. I think the overall experience now for them to learn about the history of the sport and all the things that are connected with it. I think that overall experience and that whole weekend now is the call.
Very
That's
nice.
for sure.
Very nice. Thank you again for jumping on this evening and talking with us. Melissa, was there any questions in the chat at all? Okay. Again, thank you, Tracer. We look forward to chatting with you soon. More importantly, we look forward to seeing you here soon. Brian, did you have anything for Tracer?
No. Well, we'll see you in Vegas soon.
Yeah, see you in Vegas.
Oh yeah, January 6th. And I'll if you see me racing, you know I didn't have to pay.
Hey, Tracer, say hi to Shelly for us.
I will. She won't come out in the garage for this.
Hey.
How's
All
that
right, guys,
Porsche
take
of mine
care.
doing?
How's the what?
The Porsche.
Oh, she's in here keeping me warm.
Very nice.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks again. You
Bye,
too.
Tracer.
Thank you.
Right. Big thanks to Tracer for joining us this evening and sharing his experience there at the Hall of Fame. And at this time, we're going to slide on over and we're going to visit our Newsmaker segment. It's brought to you by our good friends at 110% Nutrition. We're going to see them this weekend. Looking forward to that. We will be hanging out with them. And our first bit of news coming in is from our friends at Dye Job Apparel. And let me get over here. Here we go. And they've got a pretty cool thing running here. I think we ought to get, you and I ought to put some together and get some Progate donuts going here.
I can't help but see like a Christmas wreath with the ATB one. I don't know why.
I know. Yeah.
I don't think I can eat those donuts, though.
You can't. However, I don't know. There's probably not many calories in them. If you guys looking to get your own custom donuts that you shouldn't be eating, but you can put them on your grips, head on over to Dye Job Apparel. He's got a special going on. You can get 10 of them done, and you can have your team, your track. Pretty cool thing for a track to do. Whatever you want on there. If you want a picture of Chris while he's reading the birthdays, I will send you that picture, and you can have that put on a donut. You absolutely can. So our next little bit of news, we talked about this a little bit. Brian, you want to give them the rest of the highlights on this one? Because we didn't talk about the track.
Yeah, we're going to kick off the Florida State Series, the 2022-23 season. We're done with our state series before most states get going. So we do it a little different down here in Florida.
You start when everyone else finishes, too.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Online registration is open now, or else you have to go to the trailer in person. Make sure to look at the flyer for all the parking info, registration, so you know where you're going. Daytona's got a lot of parking, so it's usually not a problem up there. We have a clinic on Friday.
Yes.
Coach Kevin, who I did my first clinic with 3 years ago when I got back in the sport.
You going to do a clinic this weekend?
Absolutely.
All right, man.
Never miss a Coach Kevin clinic. So that's going to be cool and fun. Saturday, there's going to be a parade lap, and this is cool. I didn't remember them ever doing this, but everybody that was a state number one for the 2022 season is going to be in the parade lap.
I think that's a cool idea, man.
So
That is very cool idea.
Everybody's going to have a number one.
So if everyone falls down in my class, it's somehow they'd have to fall down at all the races, though. And they all fell down. I got a number one plate. I get to come back next year and do the parade lap.
There you go.
Yeah, they all got to fall down.
There is hope.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
On Sunday is Turkey Day.
Yeah, they're good. Winning yourself a.
So if you make the main on Sunday in your open class, you're getting a turkey. Well, technically a Publix gift card.
We're buying turkeys with
for
them.
a turkey. So that's fun.
If I get one, I'm getting the turkey just to watch Pork Chop chase bacon bits around with it.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't catch him. Daytona's having a pasta dinner on Friday night. Details go to Sunshine BMX website.
Yeah, we got that in the chat.
And that's about it for the first stop on the Florida State Series.
All right. And our next little bit of news coming in from our friends over at Waterford Oaks up in Michigan.
New track build, right?
It is. It's a whole.
I saw pictures.
It's really sweet. We had a video last week of one of the guys from the track riding around, and man, it's different and looks like a lot of fun. And they're gonna have their they're gonna race it this weekend.
I hear they're looking to buy a pro gate.
Rumor has it.
Yeah.
Talk to him about it.
I've heard.
Get a hold of us. We know some people. They're going to have their very first race. It's going to be this Saturday, and registration is going to run from 12 to 2, $10. It's a ribbon race, and you guys check it out. But before that, tomorrow, they're going to have a work bee day going on at the track to kind of tune it in, dial it in, pack it in. You guys can check out the information. We'll put the link in the chat for you. Make sure you guys head over there. If you're up there in Michigan, head on over, give them a hand working on the track tomorrow. More importantly, make sure you guys are out there Saturday to check out the new track and have a race on it. And
that's because you moved and then the weather stayed nice.
See?
As a gift.
It's
supposed to be a beautiful weekend here.
You're right. There'll be a lot of racing in Michigan then, hopefully. Probably might be your last weekend. Maybe, possibly.
Shut your trap.
Okie dokie. It's only 90 down here.
Good. I hope you melt.
Yeah.
Sweat through your shirt.
Our next bit of news coming out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we were talking about this.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know all the details, and it's a little... I don't know how they're going to pull everything off, but I like this.
I do. I'm digging this.
Because there's a lot of bragging rights, and maybe we get some cash bet on this kind of stuff. Maybe
between you and Rick Carter, man, we can get some odds going on this.
Yeah, I mean, Cape Coral's got a shot here.
They absolutely. You'd see the new state uniforms they made for their track team?
Not yet.
That's pretty sick looking. They did a nice job on them. Yeah, so there's a track versus track going on this year at the Grands. Just quick highlights. I like this, like the no uniform thing, because if you're running a state team, all that stuff, it's just, this is easy. It's automatic. It works. And you're going to be out there racing, not just for yourself and your sponsors, but also your home track. All the nitty gritty stuff, if you want to know about it, it's going to be on a link in the chat, or you can head over to usabmx.com. You can find out for yourself all that stuff behind the scenes on how they do all the points and stuff, but they're keeping it real easy.
But yeah, there's no novice, intermediate, expert. It's just
run
how the riders go and how many. Yeah, it's cool.
Just run it.
It's easy.
Right. Which that's going to make it a lot of fun. Hey, if you got a track team, club, you got something coming on, you got a fundraiser coming up, anything like that, you want to share it with us and get it on the show, make sure you send it over to info at All Things BMX Show, and we'll get it in the next Newsmaker segment for you. And with that, we're going to slide over to the trivia segment. And our trivia is brought to you by Bombshell Racing System. Big thanks to them for supporting us and always taking care of us. You got a good one this week, Melissa, don't you?
I am afraid to say.
I looked at it. I thought it was a good one.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
All right. We can't answer this.
Kind of spread out in there. All right, so let's see. I got to get used to the new camera here.
There you go.
Sticker pack. Guess I got to go this way. Okay, opposite of what I think. I got an answer number plate for the winner, and I got speaking of more Florida, High Springs T-shirt here.
Oh, he's showing the back.
Yep.
Yeah, those are
best
cool.
part. Life is all about balance.
Pretty cool.
Nobody wins this one. I'm stealing it. And then, of course, your backpack. So this week's question, kind of food related in the spirit of candy holiday just ending and turkey holiday coming. My question is, what fast food chain has the most locations in the world? So what fast food chain has the most locations in the world?
That's what got me right there. All right.
I'm going to clear my chat.
Starbucks is not fast food, correct?
What's that?
No, I think it's just it wouldn't start. Starbucks is a coffee shop, right?
I'm asking.
I don't know. Do they have food there?
Starbucks does, but
Oh.
I don't think it's considered. I never thought of it as fast food.
Neither have I. See, everyone's answering what I thought for sure.
Right. That's why it's a sneaky question.
Yeah. Brian, you want to let them know who's joining us next week on the show?
Lisa Motley. Hydrogen Bikes will be on the show next week. Another Florida company.
Oh, sorry, Lisa. I did not have a picture of you in a hydrogen jersey, so my apologies. But we will update that.
You do know Florida is the mecca of BMX, right?
It's the hotbed.
Everything BMX is in Florida.
It is the hotbed right now, I'll tell you that. All right, we're going to go into our showcase segment. And let's go here. And we want to thank Answer BMX for sponsoring the showcase segment, where hopefully we see John this weekend. First thing we're going to mention is the you want to tell them about this one?
Dirty Knobs podcast. Dirty Knobs, Mike, Hollywood Miranda, Eric Carter, James Vicente, behind the scenes stories and guests from back in the day.
And they got the new episode out. And that one is Legends of BMX. I've started it a couple times, just got distracted. But they recorded this one at Frogtown. So this is going to be a good one. We'll get the link in the chat. Make sure you guys check it out. And Melissa, you want to let them know about what's going on with what's happening over at the Moms Talk?
Sorry. Yeah.
I know I put you on the spot.
We're going to have to work on this, dear.
It's different, man. I'm 1,100 miles away.
Yeah, but you told me. Okay, anyways, doesn't matter.
It's live, Melissa.
I know, but we didn't discuss me talking about anything.
We're going off the cuff here.
All right. Well, anyways, my girls, Moms Talk BMX podcast, their most recent episode, they talked with, they titled it "Let's Talk Teams" with special guest Nick Jones. Hashtag stick with Nick. He is the current TO at the Cape Coral BMX track. We're going to put that link in the chat. I'm sure he had a lot of fun things to say, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I anticipate if you're into the team thing, he's a good one to resource.
We talk about team sheets here. Hey, Len Novak, we talk about team sheets?
Talking about team
sheets?
Team sheets here. All right, and our next little bit of showcase, guys haven't done it. Make sure they had a show this past Saturday, but it was way past my bedtime. I'm on that Florida cycle down here where
7:30.
I'm in bed I'm normally asleep by now. But hey, make sure you guys check out the Beer Budget. So it's BMX only live streaming open forum show. They discuss the hot topics, news, teams, tracks, riders, and more. And they just bullshit, man. It's a good time. And if you guys, I tell you what, listening to the Beer Budget show will guarantee a life-changing experience that is more rewarding than playing with Tyco cars with Pork Chop in Porta Potty 6 at Rock Hill. I'm going to tell you that right now, so make sure you guys tune in this Saturday. Tune in, tear your shirt off, and turn the volume up. Make sure you're in there talking shit in the chat. We're talking about team sheets with Len. He's in there. It's always going to be a good time. And we're going to go to lane 8. So Simon Marquardt, man, there's a fast cat right there.
We were in France for that Worlds. It was amazing. That was some serious. The track was amazing.
Could you focus and even see how fast that guy goes?
There were some wrecks. There was some carnage. There were some fast guys. That was the best BMX racing I've ever seen in my life.
That guy killed it. And he is Simon Marquardt. He is 2022 Elite World Champion. And he is on the Lane 8 BMX podcast. Get over there. Check it out. Chris is putting the links in the chat for you from his mansion in Clarkson. We're going to call him later for his to read the birthday, so you guys don't go anywhere. And our last bit is Boss Man Racing vlog. So he goes around and he does an awesome job filming, editing these things, getting them loaded up. He's got everything from racing footage to training, everything. And he's got a new video from 2022 season final down there at Marysville BMX. Looks like I checked out a little bit. It's good stuff. Links in the chat. Make sure you check them out. Hey, if you guys know about like a vlog, anything that promotes BMX, let us know. We want to promote the sport too, so you guys can send it in to us, and we'll get it on. So back to Melissa. What do we got going on?
I'm frustrated. Anyways, so I'm gonna go with my original answer based on my research, but people are correcting me, so sorry, but I'm gonna go with the answer being Subway. Although, like I said, most people are saying McDonald's. I got the question from 2020, and Subway had it then. So, I'm giving it to Newell Wayne, who was the first one to say Subway. So if you would send me your home address or where you want me to send the pack, I'm calling you the winner.
It's good enough. It's your trivia. You pick the winners.
You wouldn't know that.
Gate 9 says, can't trust the internet.
If anyone knows, it's him. All right.
So I appreciate everybody playing along. Thank you very much.
And we appreciate you, Melissa. And with that, we're going to slide over to our birthday segment. It wouldn't be proper. We have to call our friend Chris Beer to read the birthdays.
Hello.
Chris, you're on the show. It's time for birthdays brought to you by On Two Wheels, my friend.
What's up, Beer Man? It's the T-Bone.
Hey, Mr. T-Bone.
How you
Ryan
doing,
Wilson.
buddy?
How are you tonight,
Good,
my man?
Good to talk to you.
Good.
Hey, you too.
Are you excited if somebody picks up and makes some donuts with you on them? Dude, I
don't know.
I'm in for like
wants the donuts with my picture on them.
Yes. Melissa and I got like 3 or 4, 5 bikes. Dude, I'm in for 5.
Absolutely.
I'm in for 5 Chris Beer donuts.
Pork chop needs some.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, Chris, take it away, man. It's birthday time.
All right. Birthdays brought to you by On Two Wheels. So if you're celebrating your birthday this week, you're celebrating with Todd White, Dean Hamilton, Joshua Burgess. Let's see here. Todd Sellers, DeAndre Martin, Richie Padden. Let's see. Diana Ferrer, Steve Fleischer. I
got
messed that one
nothing.
up.
I got nothing.
You got okay. Paul McDonald, Daniel Atchison.
Good enough.
Atchison, and Zach Van Kamen.
Oh, happy birthday to everyone. Chris, thank you. And hey, thanks for getting the links in there for us, man. It takes a bunch of work off for us, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. I'm glad I can help from up here in Michigan. Hey, I'm heading out to Waterford Oaks this Saturday, so if anybody's going out there, stop by, say hi.
All right. Thanks again, Chris. Enjoy your evening with Kid Rock and Bob Seeger.
See ya.
Oh, sure.
See you, Beer Man.
Yeah.
Later.
Hey, you guys have a great rest of the night.
Good night,
Talk
buddy.
to you in the chat. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Chris, for taking the birthdays out for us. We appreciate it. And I say thanks for everybody joining us as we first show from the See To It ATV studios this evening. Thank you, Melissa, for handling everything for in the chat and everything you're doing for us. It's actually, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and
it went pretty good, right?
I think it went great. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
We will be back next week, and as Brian said, we're going to have Lisa Motley on. It's a good time. Make sure you guys tune in. They just they just got their bikes up for sale. I think it was it was yesterday. They went live on their sales form.
Very nice. So. We'll be in Daytona all weekend, so stop by the Carbone Cartel booth at the state race this weekend.
We got the ATB tent down here too.
ATB tent.
Carbone Cartel. Look for us.
Yep.
A
little bit of everything.
It'd be a good time. We're looking forward to meeting everybody down here. I know I am. And everybody, thank you for joining us this evening. You guys have a great evening. We'll talk to you guys soon.
I got moto. I got moto.